Hello everyone, welcome to StraightA. Dawson here, back with another video here today, and today we're talking about the New York Giants. What a team this is indeed. Looking at this roster, it's going to be a very interesting conversation we have here. But before we get started, let's leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment any suggestions for future videos below. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Yeah, we're gonna jump right into it and just look at the this whole team. And let's go ahead and right off the bat, just go ahead and address the elephant in the room, or should I say the Daniel Jones in the room. Daniel Jones is a quarterback. He did not have a very good first 6 games last season, and then he got injured, and then he just nothing went right for the rest of the season. Daniel Jones had a okay couple of seasons before then. 2022 is probably a more remarkable one. 3,200 yards, whatever. Decently okay. 2,400 yards, that's not very good. 2,900 yards. He's shown sparks, though, here and there. And I don't dislike Daniel Jones. I just think he's trash. I just don't think he is a starting caliber quarterback. In fact, there's actually 2 quarterbacks in this depth chart that I think could potentially be better. And that's Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito, especially Drew Lock. I think Drew Lock, while I don't think he's a starter-level quarterback, I think is better than Daniel Jones. And Tommy DeVito at least has that potential to do very well. Daniel Jones is just like he'll sometimes go off and be fine, and then most of the time he's not. That's kind of just the quick and easy about Daniel Jones, is that he's not very good. He's not a very sound player. Is he a professional quarterback? Yes, he can do better. Definitely better than I could ever do. But I just don't see him being the future of this team, and I think he does get benched pretty soon into the season. When that will be, I'm not too sure. Then we're going to look at the running back room. Eric Gray is a prospect I'm kind of curious about how much room he's going to take away from Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary's never been a guy that gets really above 800 plus yards. You know, looking at his stats right here, 898 was his high last season, but now he goes to a worse team and a worse O-line. He probably doesn't break 800. That's kind of just the quick and easy. Even with him being the main guy in this running back offense, I just don't see him breaking that 799 mark, and Eric Gray could potentially steal some remarks from him. Then we have Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson. Again, it's Malik Neighbors, who's a rookie, who's their projected number 1, and then a bunch of wide receiver 2s and 3s. And Allen Robinson's on here too. So everybody's going to have like 500 yards, essentially, is how this is going to break out. Or, everybody's going to have like 400 yards, whatever. Malik Neighbors, I expect to be good, but not great. I expect him to be he's going to be somewhere in the 800s, probably low 800s, 810. Darius Slayton will probably lose a little bit of his normal receptions that he normally gets, so he'll probably go a little bit less than that. Malik Neighbors, I anticipate to have a decent season. Everybody else will be around the 300 mark. Daniel Bellinger will not get yards. He'll just get end zone. Even then, he'll probably just get like 2 end zone, touchdowns. O-line, it's not good. They let up 85 sacks last year. They let up 48 the year before that. It's just not very good. The run game one even has been really bad. Even with Saquon Barkley is one of the better running backs in the league, and he got 962 yards in this offense, and he was the main guy. They sometimes ran him like a dog, so he did not even break 1,000 yards last year. So his O-line, shit. The D-line is actually okay. Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. I could see them potentially doing well, but I look at this next season for them is that so much is going to go wrong. It cascades and snowballs into just a really bad season. I'm not predicting any injuries or anything, but I do think that just unfortunately, once your offense or something goes really, really badly for you, it can just snowball into no one performing well, people holding out, people getting hurt. It just never turns out really well. The secondary has nobody notable. Pinnock is the only guy really. Banks, I guess I do know Banks a little bit. None of these guys really are remarkable, and I just don't think this defense is going to perform. I think this defensive line is the biggest potential for the Giants to do well this next season. I think Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Okirike, Thibodeau, I think all those guys have the potential to carry this team at least a little bit into some of these games, but they're the only option I see them getting, a lot of wins this next season. And even then, again, I think it's one of those snowball effects where you try to rely on your defense so much and they just cannot pick up the slack that the offense is letting up. That's kind of the quick and easy of what I'm going to say. This is one of the teams I cannot really look at either in terms of the stats last year, because Tyrod Taylor was their leading quarterback with 3 different quarterbacks playing last year. Really tough. Saquon, he's a whole different breed. The O-line sucks, blah, blah. Darius Slayton, while he got 770 yards last year, he's probably not getting that again this next year, just unfortunately because of Malik Neighbors coming in, and I expect a worse quarterback play. I don't know if you can get much worse than 3,300 yards total, but it could get worse. 15 total touchdowns. That's actually fucking nuts. We're just going to jump right into the stats because I really just don't have anything else interesting to say about the Giants except, like, they either suck or the good parts of their team are going to snowball into a bad effect. That's kind of the moral of the story when it comes to the New York Giants. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We're just going to kind of jump right into it. And I'll be honest, you're going to look at Daniel Jones and be like, okay, what did he really do? Daniel Jones is probably going to throw for about 1,000 yards, 6 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 1 rushing touchdown, and a decent amount of rushing yards. That's all I got. He's going to play like 5-6 games maybe. They're going to realize they're 0-6 or 1-5 or whatever the fuck they are. And they're going to bench him, put Drew Lock in. Drew Lock's going to do marginally better, like 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, something along those lines type deal for the rest of the season. Then, even then, they could put Tommy DeVito back in there for all we know. Either way, it's not going to be remarkable. We're just going to move on. Devin Singletary, unfortunately, will not get the 799-yard mark. Again, I think he's somebody who could, with a good, decent O-line, could reach that mark. This is not a decent O-line. I still think he'll be used on the goal line because nothing else will work in this offense. And so he'll get some love in there. As for the receivers, which is the most interesting part, Darius Slayton, Daniel Bellinger, we talked about them. Slayton will get, somewhere around the, let's say, 598, 620 mark, somewhere around there. He'll get 3 receiving touchdowns. He had 4 last year, so it's definitely possible. Daniel Bellinger will get 2 random receiving touchdowns in the end zone because Darren Waller's not there, so he's going to get a little bit more love, but he'll get like 350 yards. Malik Neighbors, I think, will be around the 810. I almost put him in the 700 to 799 mark, but I'm going to give him a little bit more benefit of doubt that he's going to be good enough this first season to kind of carry them a little bit. It's probably giving a little bit too high of hopes for Malik Neighbors. I'm still going with it. I could easily see 700-yard season over an 800-yard season, but we'll see. 5 receiving touchdowns seems modest enough to say, okay, he did good, he showed potential, but how good is he going to be next season type deal. So we're just going to roll with that and move on. O-line's going to let up 60-plus sacks. I think they will do better than 85 last year, but I just don't see them letting up much less than 60. I do anticipate this O-line being one of the worst in the league. They're gonna go for less than 34 sacks. I did put them in the 35 to 39 category, but looking at the remaining teams and the remaining slots I have left, this is one of the worst D-lines left, and maybe I could have done some adjustments, and maybe they'll get 38, because that was the number I kind of landed on, was like about 38 sacks, but I'd rather move them down than up, so I'm going to give them 33 sacks. Interceptions, same case here. I could easily put them in the 11 to 13 category and be fine with it, but they're going to be one of the worst secondaries. I think it seems like they've had on and off seasons where they do really well, do really bad, really well, really bad. The pattern continues that they should do bad this season. So I say they get 9 interceptions, barely on the fringe of bad, but again, they can do fine enough. Then we got the record, and here's the tricky part about the New York Giants. There's 2 teams that always have to allot the 3 or less win category. Did I allot this to the Giants? I debated it. I really, really debated it. Because I only can get 2 teams in the 0 to 3 slot, and you have to go find out the other one in the other videos. But looking at their schedule, this is easily a schedule they would have more than 3 wins. This is easily, I mean, like, there's some winnable, like, for one, the Commanders are beatable, so they can easily split with them. So that's at least a 1-5 record. I do think they get smashed by the Cowboys and the Eagles. Then they play the NFC South, in which they should be able to beat at least one of those teams. That's 2 wins there. They can probably beat like a Vikings. They can probably beat like a Seahawks type team. So they could easily kind of squeak out a 4-win season there. However, I broke it down and said, okay, they can get 2 wins from their division and NFC South. They lose against the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Colts. They win against the Vikings. They probably lose against everybody else. And so I ended up saying, okay, they're more than likely going 3-14 than 4-13. That's kind of where I landed, was they'll more than likely only go 3-14 versus 4-13. That's where I leaned. And so and looking at the remaining teams, I have to fill the slot with somebody. The only other team I could possibly consider is the Commanders, but I haven't even looked at their schedule yet. I haven't really deep dived their defense yet. That's the big question mark for me. So I don't know where the Commanders really are going to land, but I think they're going to land better than 3 wins. That's kind of my initial thought when I thought about the Commanders. So I'm going to put the Giants at 3-14, though it could be really tough. They could go 5-12. They can go 4-13. I mean, it's really tough to lose that many games. They're still a professional football team. They're still going to do well enough, but we'll see. I hope this was enlightening in some way, because the Giants are a very weird team, but this is also a little bit boring because they are one of the worst teams in the league currently. So we'll see how it goes. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see y'all in the next one. StraightA Dawson, out of here.